So in this session, let us see about the implementation of the list by using the array. So how does an array store the element? The array stores the element in a contiguous memory allocation method. So the memory will be allocated contiguously in the array. So when we have to perform an insertion operation or deletion operation in an array, so now let us see how to perform it. Say that we are creating a variable called as the list, which is defined as an array. So now for this list, let us say that the following elements are present in the list in the index 0, 1, 2 and 3. Now in case if we have to perform the insertion and we are supposed to insert the element 5. Now if the size of the list is not full, then we can insert at the end. Whereas now if we have to insert the element into any one position of the existing list, say that we have to insert the element into the existing list position, say 1. So how do we insert a 5 in this position is we have to perform the shift operation. We have to move the element from the index position 1 to 2, then from 2 to 3, and if there is space we move the element from the index 3 to the index 4. So this is how we can perform the insertion operation in a list. So what will be the updated array? The updated array will be 1, then 5, 2, 3 and 4. So this is how insertion happens in the list. Now let us see how does a deletion happen. Say that if we want to delete the element which is in position 2. So how do we delete it? So if we have to delete it, as we know that the list is being implemented by using the arrays can hold the element only in a contiguous fashion. So if this element has to be deleted, the space cannot be empty. So how do we now shift the element? So we shift the element from the index 3 back to 2. So that the updated array is going to be 1, now 2 and 4. So we shift the element towards the right side in the case of the insertion, and we shift the element towards the left in the case of the deletion operation. So this is how the insertion and deletion operation is done in the list by using the array implementation. Now let us run into the code. So let us first include the header file. One is standard input output or header file, and now let us define the maximum size of the list as 100. Say that now we are creating a list which can hold a maximum of 100 elements. So maximum this list can hold 100 elements. Now let us now get into the main function. So in the main function I'm creating a list which can hold the maximum of 100 elements. And now initially I'm using a variable say size which will indicate the current size of the list. So the size value is 0 initially. So size is going to be 0 initially. Now let us get back to the code. So first include the header file #include stdio.h and defining the variable max size, the value as 100. So now within the main function, first let us create an array. The name of the array is list and it can hold the maximum of 100 elements. So a list is created with a maximum of how many elements? 100 elements. And now we'll assign the size as the variable which I'm going to define to indicate the current size of the list. So first assigning the size of the list as 0. Now let us first initialize the list with some element. So how? Now I should get from the user what is the size of the list which I wanted to create. Say that the user is entering now the size of the list as 3. So it means that it can hold how many elements? The list can hold 3 elements. So now first I should check out whether the size is greater than the maximum size. How do I check out whether the size 3 is greater than the maximum size 100? No, it is not greater than. So what can we do? We can ask the user to enter the element. But in case if the size is greater than the max size, so if the size 3 if the user is now entering a size, say for example 101. So if it is greater than the maximum size, then the user cannot enter the element, right? So just let us write down a printf statement. So if this condition is true, if the size is greater than the max size, then we print that the size has exceeded the maximum allowed size. Now, if the size is lesser than the maximum size, say 3 is the size given by the user and 3 is not greater than 100. So 3 is lesser than the 100, we can now ask the user to print the element of the list. So we are going to run the for loop. So for I equal to 0, 0. So we have to run this loop until I is lesser than the size 3. So it will get inside the loop and it will get the element for list of is now equal to. So this happens when I is equal to 0 and this happens when I is equal to 1, when I is equal to 1 and when I is equal to 2, it gets a value for list of 2. And when my value was incremented to 3, 3 is not lesser than the size 3. So we can get the input from the user for the 3 elements of the list, say with size 3. Now say that the user is entering the element here as 1, 2 and 3. Now let us come back to the code. So now let us write down a while loop statement to print the menus. So here we are going to perform the insertion operation at the end, then at some particular position, the removing the element from the first position, removing the element by giving a position value, searching for the element, displaying the element, and then a menu to exit. So let us ask the user to enter the choice. So choice is entered by the user. So say that if choice number is given as 1, now it will get inside the switch statement and it will execute only the case 1. So if the user is entering choice 2, now it will execute only the case 2. So now say that the user is entering the choice as 1. So getting into case 1, so enter the element to add. So what is the operation that we are doing in case 1 is we are inserting an element into the list. So let us now enter the element. So let us ask the user to enter the element. Say that the element is equal to say 4. So element is 4. So now we are calling here a function called as add element and the function has the argument, the list which is an array, then the size and the new element which we are supposed to add to the existing list. So once the function is being called, it will transfer. So once the function is being called, now the control will go to the function definition part. So we'll write down the function definition of this function about the main function. Now in this function, first we are supposed to check out whether the size is lesser than the maximum size. So what is the size here? Say that the size is 3. Yes, it is lesser than 100. Now it will get inside. So I'll write down list. So list of the size, the value is 3. I'm just going to add the element 4. So we have written the element 4, right? So element 4 is added to the list size. Okay, added to the list of size and the size is 3. Now we know that what will be the elements of the array. So the elements of the array is going to be 1, 2, 2, 3 array. So what all elements do you have in your array? So you will have 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this is the updated array. Now once the element is inserted into list of 3, now the size has to be incremented. So what is the size now? What was the already existing size? The size was earlierly it was 3. Now I have to update the size as 4 because now the fourth element was also inserted. Now coming to the printf statement, you can print that the particular element 4 has been added to the list. If not, if the size of the list is greater than the maximum size, then it will tell that the list is full and you cannot enter more elements. And let us return the size. So what will be the updated size now? So this size which was in case 1 will now have the value returned by the function. So the size will be updated here as 4. So hope now you can understand. Now let us move through so this size is now returning. The value of size is going to be 4. Now let us enter into the case 2. So coming to case 2, now let us ask the user to enter an element. So say that the user is entering the element as 5. Okay. Now we have to ask the user what is the position that you wanted to enter. Say that the position is 2. Okay. You have to enter in position 2. Now let us call the function. So insert element of, so we have to pass as argument the list which is an array, the size of the list, the element and the position. Now let us write on the definition part for this insert element. So we have to write down above the main function. So here now first we have to check out whether, as we have checked earlier, whether the size is greater than the maximum size. If the size is greater than maximum size, then what does it mean? Then that the list is full. If not, and if not, we can perform the insertion operation. And we have to check out for one more condition whether the position that you have entered is lesser than 0. What does it mean? Say that if the user is entering a value lesser than 0, or if the position is greater than size, say that the size value is 4 currently. Say if the user is entering a position say 5, so now what happens? The position becomes invalid. So we are supposed to check out these conditions also. Now say that the user has entered a proper position number, say 2. Now it will get inside this for loop. So what do we have in the for loop? We have to perform now the shift operation. Hope now you can remember what I have told. So here the already existing size value is what? Size value is 4. Now let us draw the diagram. So here the size for this was 4. So let us write down the size is 4. Okay, so now we are going to run a for loop. So for I is equal to the size, so I is equal to 4. And now we have to check out whether 4 is greater than the position. What was the position value? Position was 2, right? Yes, 4 is greater than the position. Okay, the condition is true. If your condition is true, now we are supposed to perform the shift operation. So what do we perform? The list of I minus 1 will be assigned with what? The list of I. So what is there in I minus 1? What is the value of I currently? I is 4. So 4 minus 1, it is going to be 3. 3 is now assigned to the index 4. Yes. So say that first you are supposed to insert at which position? I'm supposed to insert at position 2. So in order to insert at position 2, what am I supposed to do? First I have to shift the element which is in the list 3. Okay. That is in the third index of the array. First to what? The fourth index. Okay. So moving from third to fourth. Then what is my next step? Again, I should run my for loop, right? So I'll decrement the value of I. So I'll again decrement the value of I. So I will be decremented now to 3. So now checking for the condition whether I value. So I value is what? Now checking for the condition whether the I value 3 is greater than the position 2. Yes, it is greater than the position 2. So now the list of now I, which is 3, will be assigned with what? The list of 2. So the element which is in the second position will now be shifted to the third position, right? So this is how insertion happens. And now the space becomes what? Vacant. Now let us again decrement the value of I. So I value is going to be true. So now true is greater than true. The condition fails. So since the condition fails, now it will come out of the loop and the next statement is executed, that is list of the position. What is the position? Position is 2 will be assigned with the element. What is the element that we are supposed to insert now? It is the element 5. So now what will be the updated array? So we will have the updated array. In the 0th index we'll have 1. In first index we'll have 2. In the second index we'll have 5. And in the third and fourth index we'll have 3 and 4. So this is how the insertion operation is done in the array. Now let us continue with the next case. How to remove the element from the list. So now it comes to case 3. So case 3, the function remove element of the arguments list size and element is passed. Now let us write down the function to remove the element from the list. So how do we remove the element from the list? We are going to use a variable called as found. So which indicates that whether the element that we wanted to remove is present in the list or not. Say that we have to check out whether the element say 5 which I'm supposed to delete is present in the list or not. So we'll run a for loop for I equal to 0, I lesser than the size. The size is returned back, the value of size is going to be 5, right? So earlier we had 4 after insertion. Earlier it was 4 and after inserting a value we have incremented the value of size. So size value was 5 which is now returned back to the case 2. So in case 2 the value of size will be returned here and the size is so in the delete function. So now first check out whether the particular list has the element which we wanted to remove. Say that 5 is the element which I wanted to remove. So if I have to remove the element say 5, first check out whether the particular list has that element 5. So if it is present, then I make the found variable as 1. Okay. Now let me run the loop to perform what? A deletion operation. So in this function, I'm just going to delete only the element of the list. So how do I delete? So first making a dry run for the for loop. So j value is equal to I. So I value is going to be 0. So 0 lesser than the size minus 1. Size value was 5. 5 minus 1 is going to be 4. And now I'll place the value which is present in the list of j. So what is the value which is present? So list of j, so list of 0 will be assigned. So list of 0 will be assigned with the list of j plus 1. What is the value of j? So 0 plus 1, it is 1. So if I have to delete the first, say that if I have to delete the first element or any element, I'm supposed to perform what? A shift operation, right? So I have to place, if I am deleting this index, now I have to move the element which is in index 1 to index 0 because as it is an array implementation, I cannot have the memory space to be vacant as the elements are stored in a contiguous memory fashion. So I'm just after deletion, I'll shift the element which is in first index to 0, then from second index to 1, then from third index to 2, and then from fourth index to 3. So this is how the deletion operation is done. And then now once it is deleted, I'll decrement the size value. So size value is going to be 4. Okay, so this is how the deletion operation is done by using the array implementation of list. Now let us deal with the case 4. So how do we deal with case 4? So now let us enter the position to remove. So it is deletion by position. And now let us call the function remove element position. So here let us write down now the definition. for the removing the element at its position. So first check out, as we have mentioned earlier, check whether the position is lesser than 0 and position is greater than or equal to size. If it is so, you can just print a message called invalid position. If not, we can shift the element to the left to fill the gap. So as the same, it is the very same as I've explained here. And the size can be returned back to the user. Now let us see the next case. So next case is to perform a So let us see the next case. The next case is to perform the search operation. So just calling the function search element, and now let us write down the definition for the search operation. So in the search function, we have to pass a list, the size and the element. So as if we have seen earlier the found variable, if the element is found, then we can tell that the element is found at which particular index. So say that we have to run a loop trying to search whether the element to be searched is matching out with the elements in the list. So list of I is double equal to element will check out, and it will return the element if it is found at some particular index. If the element is not found, then it will throw out a message that the element is not found. And your next case is to display the list. So how do we display the list? So the case 6 is to display the list. Now call the function display list. So on the display list, so here pass the list and the size of the list. So you can print the current list by running the loop from 0 to size. So if the size is 4, it will print the entire list until the end of the, so it will print the entire list. So now let us run this code. Let us initialize a variable I, as I is can be initialized globally. So let us now run the code. So enter the initial number of elements in the list. Say that I'm initially assigning 3 elements. So element 1 is 1, 2 and 3. So adding now element at its position, say that I'm entering the choice as 2. So entering the element to insert, say I'm entering the element 4 to insert. Entering the position, say I wanted to enter at position 2. So we'll enter. Now let us see how does the list look like by giving the option 6. So now the element is 1, 2, 4 and 3. So the element 4 has been inserted in the position 2. Now let us see how to remove the element by value. So let us enter the choice 3. And which element are we supposed to remove? Say that I have to remove the element 4. Now let us see the list. So give 6. So now the element 4 is deleted from the list. Now let us try out for removing the element by position. Give the choice as 4. And which element are you supposed to remove? So let us give the position, say 1. So now the element which is in position 1 will be deleted. So we had in position 1, 2. So this 2 was being deleted, and now we have the current list with 1 and 3. Now let us perform the search operation. So enter your choice 5. So enter the element to search. So let us say that we are going to search, say 5. So there is no such element. It will throw out an error that element is not found. So let us again enter the choice 5 and let us give a value, say 3. So now it will return that the element 3 is found at index 1. And now let us display the list. So now the current list contains the element 1 and 3. So this is how we implement the list by using the arrays.